In 1990, one of the greatest comic book adaptations ever made burst onto the big screen. Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. With its star-studded cast, bold colours, unforgettable villains, and a tidal wave of merchandise, this film became a short-lived but powerful cultural phenomenon. Now, more than 30 years later, this podcast is here to explore, unpack, and dissect this brightly coloured masterpiece, week by week, scene by scene. So pull up a chair at the Southside Warehouse, because there's going to be a big payoff.
Hello and welcome to Talking Dick, the Dick Tracy movie podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Simon Creswell, and joining me is Mr.
James Tilling.
Welcome to the podcast. Today we've got a special guest, our second ever podcast guest on the show, Brian Styron from the Detective Dick Tracy fan page. He lives out in Florida and he'll be talking us through some of his memories around being a Dick Tracy fan in Florida. The idea of this, James, is we want to try and meet some fans around the world and just profile some of them, don't we? You know, what was it like growing up in Florida or America in the early 90s and being a Dick Tracy fan?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just talk to people. Hopefully we get someone from Japan, someone from India, someone from Russia.
Yeah. Oh, that's what we want to know. Like, we can give our perspective of what Dick Tracy was like for us, you know, in the UK and what we got to experience. I know from our research, we've known that there's so much more was offered in the States. There was so much more promotions that were going on and competitions and all these things, and the extra stuff that was taking place at Disney, which Brian will hopefully be able to tell us all about. So this is what will be exciting to hear today, is to get a first-hand perspective of someone who lived through and experienced Dick Tracy in the US when it came out.
Yeah, absolutely. So with no further ado, let's meet Brian. Our guest today is Brian Styron, who lives out in Daytona Beach in Florida. He has a page, Dick Tracy Adventures, on Instagram, and he is the host of It Belongs in a Podcast since 2025, which is an Indiana Jones-based podcast where he gets members of the crew from Indiana Jones to come on and discuss their role in the movie, in particular stuntmen. Beyond that, Brian, I don't know anything about you.
Well, thank you all the same for having me on, Simon, James. Nice to finally talk to you guys. You know, I'm just a fan of Dick Tracy, just like you, and I'm thrilled at what you guys are doing. I love listening, and I'm excited to be a part of it now too.
It seems like you're a bigger fan than us because you got the outfit, you got the hat, you got the shirt.
I'm a very enthusiastic fan for sure. Yeah, this is part of it for me, is like having little bits of it. But yeah, no, I'm sure there is no such thing as a one bigger Dick Tracy fan than another. I'll tell you that right now, because there's not a ton of us out there, so no competition.
I want to create a term for us Dick Tracy fans, but I don't want to use the term dickheads or.
Well, listen, let's workshop it. Let's consider it. You know.
Yeah, it won't look good on the t-shirts, will it?
I like the idea you guys had for the shirt, where, you know, talking on the front, dick on the back. I thought that was pretty good.
Not sure how many we'd sell though. So whereabouts you are? You're based in Florida, and are you close to the theme park? Is that kind of give us your bearings? Not the street. Don't tell us your street.
No, you're good. I'm about an hour away from like Disney and Universal Studios.
Oh wow, okay. And is that a nice part of the world to be? Is it sunny all the time there, or?
I mean, most of the time, yes, it's pretty great. The summers can be pretty rough. It's very humid, or it's sea level, you know, so the heat here is different than heat elsewhere. But unless there's a hurricane off the coast, it's usually a pretty great place to be.
Well, it's much nicer in the UK, where it's just drizzle and cold and rain all year round.
I would imagine so. Yeah, it's depicted that way.
Before we get into Dick Tracy, I just wanted to ask you about Indiana Jones, because obviously that seems to be your top passion. I guess Dick Tracy is just below it, yeah?
Oh, I'm just a fan of many things. Yeah, Ghostbusters. I mean, you name it. I'm just like you guys. I grew up and I was influenced by the pop culture around me, right? So yeah, I have a lot of friends. It does seem like that's the biggest topic of conversation, which is funny because I guess I have I for sure have an attraction to fedora-clad characters that they're not making any more sequels for. That seems to be a fetish of mine. So I don't know why. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's a thing. So,
is there more in the list beyond Indiana Jones and Dick Tracy? Who else would you put in that category?
Oh yeah, well, I mean that's probably it. Probably the Spirit, but I feel like he's a knockoff of. He's like Dick Tracy with a mask. It's like the Lone Ranger and Dick Tracy just decided to hang out too long, and they're like, I have an idea.
Yeah, and The Spirit was a rough film from memory. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I wish they hadn't done that. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a whole other topic. Yeah.
Yeah, do a podcast on that. But Indiana Jones, obviously, huge fans. In the UK, we had a promotion, James, didn't we? We joined Ringo Crisps in the UK. Had like a fan club where you got a magazine. Do you remember this, James?
Yeah, I do remember this. Yeah.
And my first film at cinema was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And we saw it. We saw it, and then we signed up to this promotion and got like a little Indiana Jones badge and a comic. So, and then we had a couple of the other ones on video, didn't we, James?
That's it.
Yeah, or most of it on video. I'll let James tell the story. Do you want to tell that story about Temple of Doom?
Yeah. So Temple of Doom, that was the first one that we watched. Simon and I grew up together with cousins, so we used to go to our grandparents a lot. And my granddad had recorded Temple of Doom off TV.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, just as it got past the scene when Indy had the flame against him and he kind of comes out of the trance and he comes back,
Okay.
the video would just cut. And for us, that's where the film ended.
Well, he's dead. That's the end of it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And so we watched that film again and again and again. And it was probably 7 or 8 years before we eventually managed to catch it on telly again and got to see the end. So we got to see the kart race, the bridge scene. So it was like, this is amazing.
It's like another film, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's trying to source it. Yeah, there were movies I didn't have on tape. And when I got them, I was like, I'd forgotten this existed at all. Like I haven't seen it in so long, and you happen upon it. So, it's funny that the age that we live in now, everything's on demand. You just look for it and there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much more convenient, but, it's funny. So you say that about the flame, and that makes me think of, I have a funny little short story about that, but it's, my children and I were at the theme park. We were at Hollywood Studios, and they still have the Indiana Jones stunt show there. And they were very little. They're teenagers now, but they were very little at the time. And but they understood enough of what was going on. And they used to let audience participation happen. They would have you come from the audience and go out on the stage, and you were in you got a turban on and things, and you'd go out and you're like an extra. And so we went out, we did our bit, and then they have you go sit down. Well, at the very end, there's all this pyrotechnics, and the plane, the fire happens behind the plane. And so I waited for the crowd to go out because we were kind of in the center. That's where they had all the extras sit. And I come out, and my children are just bawling because they're under the impression I've been blown up in the show because they didn't notice me walk away. And I'm just like, this is the Disney World dream that you too can see your father blown to smithereens, So not a happy memory for them, but I enjoyed it.
At least you're alive to tell the tale. I will move on from you now, Jones, but do you have a favourite of the films? Which one's your favourite from the 5?
Raiders. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's timeless. All the other ones, they're kind of riffing, they're kind of coming off of it. I think the first 2 really are their own stories, and then from 3 on, he kind of takes a change because the first 2, he's just Indiana Jones. He's not Henry Jones Jr. He's just Indiana Jones. But from that 3rd one on, they kind of humanized him. They kind of made him this flawed guy that made up Indiana Jones as a persona. Like when he goes traveling, he is in his head. When he puts the hat on, he's Indiana Jones. And then people know him that way. He introduces himself that way. But those last 3, it's a very different character. Those first 2 it was what you and I wanted him to be. He was this larger than life character. Those last 3, they humanize him. It's like, no. He's got to get back. He's got a 9 to 5. He's got to teach class.
He's a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I always loved Temple of Doom. James, what's your favourite?
Yeah, Temple of Doom is for me. I think it's just nostalgically, that's the one that I watched the most, the first one I watched. And
you watched 2/3 of it the most.
Yeah, exactly. And then, getting an extra 20 minutes years later just blew my mind.
Yeah, it's like this has a whole plot to it I wasn't aware of.
Yeah.
I've only just seen Temple of Doom for the first time in theaters earlier this year.
Oh, wow.
I never saw it in its original run. Yeah, and I never saw it on the re-releases or anything. I just this year saw it for the first time in the theater. Now I've seen them all.
Yeah, that's the one I haven't seen, actually. I haven't seen that in the cinema. Yeah, hopefully one day. Anyway, we've probably lost half our fan base because they're like, hey, we tuned in to talk Dick Tracy. So Dick Tracy then. So what we're doing is just trying to meet some of the fans online. I mean, you've got a page. You can tell us about how that came about, the Dick Tracy Adventures page, and just kind of getting a flavour for people around the world and kind of why they're into Dick Tracy, what are their favourite bits. We just want to talk to people really and build a community. And your page is one of the first ones we kind of liked. And I think we sent you a message and just said like, hey, we've got a page as well now. We're not in competition. It's all for a love of Dick.
Yeah, I think that's exactly. I mean, that's certainly how I feel, right? You know, as I think there's so few of us out there. You know, I said that at the top of it, but you know, I really do feel like that's the truth. Like, I don't feel competitive with anybody. I think we all kind of want to reminisce about it or somehow add something to it. You know, there's some pages out there that are truly fantastic. The Dick Tracy movie page, that, I mean, unreal, the contributions, the artwork. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more every time I see something there, whether it's an original creation or it's something I hadn't seen before, these press kits and things that I took for granted. You know, I think as kids, we all thought we were going to get more, and then we didn't. And that's what this really is us kind of dealing with the fallout of, well, I waited 3 decades and they haven't moved on it, you know, so I guess maybe they're not going to. Yeah, but I loved it. I got swept up in it during the release. My parents brought me on vacation to Florida, you know, right the year that it came out, and huge promotion for it at MGM. And yeah, every time I go to the park, it's on my mind. I'm thinking of that time. You know, it's changed. It's radically different than it was, you know, when I was a child. But the little bits, there's a Starbucks on the way in there, and that used to be where you'd film the little VHS segments, and they'd put you in a yellow coat and a hat and a Tommy gun. But I mean, I still think of that every time I see it. I'm like, there it is. You know, like, I might not talk about it, but it's in the back of my mind. To me, it's kind of a timeless moment where it's like, yep, I love being back here because it reminds me of all that going on. You'd have, you know, they had a Dick Tracy and the gangsters that would roam around the parks. They had a stage show before Sunset Boulevard was even built. There was a big stage there, and then they actually tore that down and rebuilt it down the way. Then they extended it out. They made the strip leading to the Tower of Terror down there. But yeah, it's just timeless for me. Yeah, like you said, you have your promotions over there. We had promotions here. We had things that we did here. The McDonald's one was a big thing. So it was just everywhere. Everything was yellow. I remember everything being yellowed at that time. So.
And a particular shade of yellow, you know, a very particular shade.
Yeah,
you know?
You got to get it right, you know.
Otherwise, you look like the mask. What I was going to say, just going back to Florida. So when was the first time you went to the theme park in Florida? I mean, because you lived there nearby. Have you been going since the 80s, or when did you first go to?
No. So, yeah, I was born in 84. So we came here, like I said, in 90. That was the first time for me. 1990 was the first time I'd gone to the theme parks here. And then my parents decided, we lived in Pennsylvania. So we lived up the coast quite a bit. And then they decided to move here the next year. I think just the experience of being here and kind of getting to sample Florida, my father was sold on it and moved us here. And so yeah, I've been able to go to the theme parks ever since. I didn't go too often. And it's funny, I didn't get a lot of like merchandise or anything. I have 2 action figures. I have a Dick Tracy and I have a Mumbles that I've had since I'm, you know, a child. But even that, my mother wouldn't let me keep the guns, which, funny enough, I know I'm an American, you would think, but yeah, she would not let me keep. She threw away the guns, but I was allowed to keep the figures. So, you know, you guys talk about going to the store. I love listening to that episode. I love listening to you guys going and hoping to find another one. You know, the next one's going to be the blank. I know it. And, you know, for whatever reason, that never happened. But, well,
yeah, not for me.
Yeah. Lucky James, you know.
Yeah. So, sorry, I was going to say, so you went in 1990. So you were at the perfect time to go to Disneyland because obviously the film was out and they had all the promotions, and you said the people dressed up and the experience with the coat. But we went in 91 in April. And we missed it pretty much. I think the show ended in like February 91. There was very little. Yeah. So we sort of, we just want to live through you really, and want you to tell us what we missed. So did you see the show?
Yeah. The photo. Well, yeah, I did. I don't remember much of it. I know that I've read people. You know, I've seen YouTube clips of it since then, and I remember parts of it. And there was certainly, there's been a lot of people review. I guess it didn't last very long because people weren't a big fan of it. It wasn't very good as far as little musical numbers go. But I did see that. Yeah, I remember there was just decorations everywhere. You saw the photo ops. You said you saw a different one.
Yeah.
There were photo ops and it just was everywhere. I mean, there were posters everywhere and it just seemed to be kind of on everybody's mind. The whole park just seemed to be full of the Dick Tracy movie. And I certainly think I guess we were supposed to get a ride, which I'm glad my childhood heart did not know about because it surely would have shattered. Because that to me sounds amazing. Like you're going through this warehouse in a gangster car, and it sounds amazing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Where did you hear about the ride? Where did you hear that?
Well, there's YouTube videos. Yeah, no, I mean it was in development, and then when the movie didn't do the business that they wanted it to do, it wasn't a failure, but they expected those Batman numbers. There's that magic word Batman that always comes up on this podcast for some reason, right? But yeah, when that didn't do the business it was supposed to do, they canceled the ride, and yeah, it's very unfortunate. I wish the box office had been better. We might be sitting here talking, well, which Dick Tracy movie is your favorite, Brian? Which one was it?
Which one of the 5? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I thought there was 6 of them. Are you sure?
I mean, and you shared a photo, which we'll share properly.
Yes.
Of you, and you're in a stand. It says the lineup, and it's got Shoulders, The Brow, and Steve the Tramp, and like a height chart. You and some family members, I guess, there, and you're stood there in that, and it's incredible. I mean, I wonder where that is now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of that wound up on the scrap heap. I know up until a few years ago, there's a gentleman. He works at the parks down here, and he has a channel. And he went to the studios just to see if he could find anything, and there was the silhouette, with the hat and the circle behind it was tucked away in one of the restaurants. I don't think it's there anymore, but it was at the time. And I love little bits like that. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. There's a lot of the Rocketeers. There's a lot of little remnants that are still around the park. But yeah, Dick Tracy's mostly wiped clean at this point.
Which is one of the things that I remember when we went in '91. There was like they did that studio tour type trip. And it was the cars. I remember there was at least 3 or 4 of the cars from the films, ones that were all shot up by the Tommy guns.
Yes.
And just like seeing those. So I wonder where those are today. Are they still there, or have they moved off elsewhere?
They're long gone. Yeah, they haven't had the studio tour in many, 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 many years now, sadly.
Okay.
Have they not?
And that back part of that backlot area is where they have the Star Wars land now.
Right.
That used to just be like the houses for the filming that they would take you through on the little tram. But yeah, that's all been gone for a long time. Yeah, like I said, so much of it's different, but that's why I do love the park. It's usually pretty sparse as far as like the amount of people there. And like I said, just being there, and it's kind of that same period. That's why it blended so well. It's meant to kind of evoke that late 30s, early 40s kind of era, which I love, and the buildings are a lovely design as well. So, but yeah, I remember the cars. I have pictures with me. I'll send you those as well with my parents with the cars.
Oh, please do. Yeah.
The marquee on the theater was made up to be a Dick Tracy one. Yeah, it just, like I said, everywhere you turned your head, it was there. The whole park was full of it. I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see it.
Yeah.
I know Pleasure Island was the same way. I didn't go there until I was much older, but it was called Downtown Disney. Now it's called Disney Springs. But Pleasure Island at the time, there was a whole store that was painted yellow that was made to look like a Dick Tracy store, and it had cars out front of it and merchandise all throughout. There's pictures of all this online. I never saw that in person, but that's where they had the premiere. The movie theater is actually over on Pleasure Island. The Chinese theater at the park where they have the handprints and stuff. That was the Great Movie Ride. That's true theater. So there's usually some confusion about that.
Yeah, we've just done a podcast, which is probably going out as we speak, about the premiere. But we noticed that Warren Beatty's handprints were outside the movie theater there. Are they still there? Are they still in the ground?
And they are, yeah. And so is Charlie's. Charlie's are right next to him. And then Dustin Hoffman's are there. Dick Van Dyke, they're there as well, but they're from a separate occasion, but he's in the movie, so I say it counts. Noticeably missing, and I've seen pictures of her there that night. Glenn Headley, her handprints and autograph are not there. I want to go look. It's never occurred to me until recently to go look over by the theater that they rebuilt, because there are autographs and handprints at the Theater of the Stars. So I want to go look. I want to make a little trip and go look next time I'm up there just to see, because I know that they've moved them sometimes. I guess Leonard Nimoy's autograph and handprints used to be over there. Now they're in front of the Chinese theater. So who knows? It's a mystery to solve, I suppose.
They keep chopping it around.
Yeah.
So in terms of the actual film itself, then, when was the first time you remember seeing the film? Did you see it at the cinema at the time?
I did not. No, I definitely saw it on VHS. I was kind of swept up in the fever of it at the theme park, but I know that I saw it on VHS. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you rent it at the time, or did you buy it?
Yeah.
You rented
Yeah.
it.
All rented. We never had a copy that we owned, so it was rented, which in a way sort of makes it more special because it was like a treat. It was like, this is your chance to watch it. So we watched the heck out of it. I had I grew up with my two brothers. I have an older brother and a younger brother, and we just couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah. And that's, I think, your age. You're saying you're born in 84, I'm 83, James 82. It just hit us at the perfect time as a group of, young boys growing up in the early 90s. It's like our gangster film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. We talk about that with the Tommy guns and the death, and you got naked Madonna and all the things, but it was colorful, so it was just enough to kind of trick your parents or grandparents and like, oh no, this is a kids movie. It's like it's not a kids movie, but we loved it.
It's not Bugsy Malone, is it? It's quite different.
Yes, yes, exactly.
So your memories of watching it, you obviously rented it and watched it for the first time, and then I'm guessing you watched it over and over again. And what are some of the things that stood out for you when you were a kid? What were the moments that kind of stood with you, which may be different to now? Because when you watch it these days, you might take on something different, I'm certainly noticing Madonna more as I get older.
Sure. Yeah, I think just I think it was my first exposure to where everything in the world was sort of muted or was like generic, like the can just says chili. I just remember being fascinated with this, like, what is this weird world that he lives in, so it was definitely that captured my attention. I like looking at the background. I'd seen it once, I kind of like looking at everything else to kind of like, what is this world like that he's in? So that was always interesting. The Tommy guns, I think it was one of the first things I'd seen that had Tommy guns in it that wasn't black and white. So, again, they put on the hats, they have the Tommy guns, the old cars. None of the cars have labeling on them. Again, that generic look. But yeah, I think like everybody else, it absolutely stunned me that we had these moving caricatures, these evil characters. Everybody that's bad looks like a caricature of themselves and somehow lifelike, so kudos to the makeup team, John and Doug and their cohorts for somehow, pre-CGI 1989, out there with a camera and some latex and a wing and a prayer. It still holds up. It's beautiful. I mean, there's movies that are much newer that are just insanely bad makeup. They deserved every award they got. But I think just the use of color, it looked like, I think Warren truly made a moving comic book, and I couldn't get enough of it. And it was such an unusual choice. Everything he did was unusual, and I loved it.
Yeah, and it stands the test of time, as you say,
Oh yeah.
Which is why we're trying to promote it to the next generation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't know if you found out there in Florida, when you speak to people our sort of age, we're aware of it, us guys in our 40s and late 30s, but below that, it's kind of been forgotten. Is that what you find in the States? Or because Dick Tracy's more of an icon out there, I don't know whether he's more in the cultural zeitgeist than he is here. So I don't know. Do younger people know Dick Tracy?
Not in my approximation, no. Like, I don't think so. Like, I've gotten the tattoo. I have a tattoo on my leg now. And it'll strike up a conversation. Yeah, it's the silhouette of him with the Tommy gun and it's pretty large. Yeah. But yeah. So it's an attention getter. Like, they'll see it on the side of my leg and they're just like, and it'll strike up the conversation if somebody knows it. But yeah, I mean, I really do think in general, it's been largely forgotten. Yeah, that's the shame of it, is that I think people who see it love it. They love the music. They love the originality of it. I think, it's funny. I think a lot of people think that they discovered that Robert Rodriguez, Frank Miller, like when they did Sin City, everybody's like, oh, look at this. This is so different. I'm like, Warren did this like decades ago. Like you guys are way behind, you know.
Yeah.
And obviously they did it with a different flavor and a lot more edge, but I think he was just ahead of the time. I think it's like Blade Runner, it's like anything else. Anything that came out that audiences just weren't ready for. It was a true like piece of art. They just didn't know what to do with it. And yeah, it's been forgotten because they didn't know how to process it at the time.
Yeah.
There's been tons of movies like that. Scott Pilgrim, I don't think was initially appreciated.
Yeah. Good example.
I think people, I wish, like you said, I wish more young people would just give it a spin and just fall in love with it the way we did. I don't know anybody who's really giving it the attention that didn't like it. I wish it wasn't forgotten.
I was just thinking about It's a Wonderful Life. There's a film that came out and was kind of like critically panned and is now considered like the greatest Christmas film of all time. You know, that probably took decades to get there, didn't it?
It's one of my all-time favorites. Yeah, I just saw that in the theater last year for the first time. So I love that as well. But yeah, you're right. I guess it was the copyright. It didn't have a copyright at the end.
That's right.
And they were allowed to air it for free. So it was paying. People were just like, oh, you don't want to watch that. It's terrible. And because it didn't have the copyright, they could air it without paying royalties. And it became the staple. Oh, it's a true Christmas classic. And it is. It's a beautiful movie. I don't know why they didn't love it, but
maybe it comes down to the rights then. So when Warren forgets to renew the rights, Dick Tracy just appears on every TV channel, like, on loop.
When he made that second special, it will now fall. He doesn't have to lift a finger. It will fall into the public domain, and somebody will do something with it. They will.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll be podcasting at that point, and we'll be like, "It's happening. This is the news we want. We're ready." Just go back to your tattoo. There's a picture on your page of your tattoo, and we'll share it. But that's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought it came out wonderfully. I have a really good artist, so.
Yeah, I want to get one done now. I'm thinking big boy.
Do it.
I don't know what the wife would say, but it's worth considering.
So we'll do a temporary first, and we won't tell her. We'll see how she reacts.
Happy Valentine's. So in terms of merchandise then, Brian, was there much of it around Florida? Because I think, James, when we went in 91, we saw a little bit of Dick Tracy merchandise. Do you remember seeing anything when we were there?
Yeah, with us it was just some of the toys that were there, a lot of the applause kind of merchandise gifts, and obviously I think that was all a hangover from the previous year. I think the stuff that was still hanging around
in bargain bins,
exactly. That's all we saw when we were in 91.
Did you see much, Brian, around it? I know, like applause stuff in card shops and things like that. Or I don't know.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, at the gift shops when I went to the park, there were like towels and the hats. Obviously, there were hats everywhere. But yeah, the cups, the ones you see now on eBay when I'm out there, obviously bidding against you guys and trying to get some of this stuff. But yeah, like you said, like I don't remember. I know keychains and pins, which Applause made as well, I think. But yeah, specific merchandise. No, T-shirts, a lot of T-shirts, and in the subsequent years too, like between the movie's release and maybe like the early 2000s, so like that 10-year swing, I for sure saw a lot of shirts, a lot of different designs, like all over prints, and this is based on like a bed sheet, this design, but with the dots, but I never saw bed sheets in person. I find out a lot of this stuff after the fact, but yeah, the parks, it was like drink cups, things like that. Yeah, they had like drink cups with the little bendy straws, reusable cups, and things like that. I remember, but yeah, what else in that shop? I can only imagine. Like I said, those pictures from Pleasure Island. Oh, I wish I could go back. I'd load up my cart.
Time machine.
Take it all.
Take it all.
Especially at 1990 prices. I mean, even more sold.
That's the dream, isn't it? So years later, obviously, you then set up the Instagram account.
Yes.
And for Dick Tracy Adventures. How did that come about then? What was your reasoning for that then?
Like anything else, I guess I just wanted a place for myself to kind of capture some of these things, whether they're things that I bought or there are things that I remembered or I found. It just kind of became like almost like a gallery for me to like, oh, that there was that, or this variation of this artwork. So obviously there's a lot of people that do that a lot better than I do. So it's kind of become something else now. Now it's a little bit expressive. Like I have one of the vintage coloring books, and I'll sit with my kids and we just kind of we listen to music or whatever, and we just kind of scribble, and then I'll put it up there. And I'll try to change the picture a little bit, but yeah, it's just become that's kind of just like therapeutic. It's just for fun, right? But whatever I'm doing with it, I do like I dress up. I do like cosplay and stuff. I'm slowly working towards that. I've got the hat now and the watch, so I'm getting there. I got this. I got my suit, the coat. The coat's going to be the real trick, but I got a lead. But
For a real one?
yeah, it's oh yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
not from the movie. Oh goodness, you missed that. That was here. I missed that. They had that here. You guys reported on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed seeing that in person. I didn't hear about it until after the fact, and I was very very sad about that.
But it's got to be somewhere in storage, isn't it? That's got to be out there somewhere, waiting to come out again. Yeah.
I'll see what I can do. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's just become a place for me to express that fandom and to connect with people like yourselves about it. That's the best part is finding other people who are like, oh, I remember that, and it's like, yes, finally.
Yes.
No, I'm just looking at your Instagram account now, and it's just so colourful. Like if you flick through the pictures, that's the first thing that jumps out, just the colour.
I love
Yeah.
the variety of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wear a lot of wacky shirts, hence this. But yeah, I do like color. Yep,
Yeah, no. I mean,
That's
that
probably why I like the movie so much.
yeah, but that's what's great about it, isn't it? It's because so many modern films are very bleak and grey and black
Yes.
and gritty, which is
Yep.
fine. That works for some things, but there's not many films like Dick Tracy.
Yeah. To me, that's like a taboo. That's like a red flag when someone's talking about remaking something or rebooting something. When they say the word grit, they start to lose me. I'm like, does it need grit though?
Yeah, it needs Warren Beatty, is what it needs.
I would recommend it.
So yeah, I mean, you've obviously talked about the page, talked about the merchandise and the park and the film. Is there anything in terms of the film, anything that your favourite quotes or standout scenes or actors in the film that you were going to give a shout out to? Is there any of those kind of things that, I mean, a lot of people obviously say Al Pacino, but are there other characters in the films that stand out for you?
Oh yeah, sure. Sam is. I love Sam. I come to love Seymour. I love Sam. I love Sam because he kind of seems like the only other good guy that knows what he's doing at all. Everybody else is kind of like taking instruction from Dick Tracy and just sort of they're either against him or they're subject to his will. Pat just sort of seems he's just kind of there. He's just repeating everything that gets said. Sam does that a little bit, but no, I love Sam and I love Seymour Cassell, the late great Seymour Cassell. I really I came to appreciate him a great deal. He did a lot of television, a lot of film. Star Trek: The Next Generation. He did several movies with Wes Anderson, and I just thought he was wonderful. But yeah, I think Sam is my favorite role of his. He just seems very loyal. He seems very, like I said, he's kind of with it. You feel like Dick Tracy's alone in a lot of it. You hear him talking to himself, or you see him doing things, and everybody else, even the chief, just sort of seems to be aloof and kind of not in touch with what's going on. But Sam, he's almost right there, Dick Tracy. Like you get why he's his right hand man. You're like, that's the guy to pick too. He seems to have a good head on his shoulder. I don't know about like favorite moment or it's hard to encapsulate it because all of it's special, right? I think I like the best. I like the shootout. I'm like you guys. I'm a sucker for the shootout at the end. It's just great because you're kind of building up to it, right? I love the plot. Overall, I love that. Like, it seems like he wouldn't be bothered unless Breathless had come along. Breathless is just this big, buxom, like blonde wrench that gets thrown in the plans. Everything's fine until she comes along and she starts like, you know what? I could probably work these two against each other. And it works beautifully. But the little cameos are beautiful. I think he was setting up this very rich universe for us, and he got some amazing actors to do it, and most of whom he killed or blew up. But still, it was great, right?
Yeah.
Dustin Hoffman, unbelievable for the amount of time they had him. Absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, is the enemy of my enemy my enemy? I think might be my favorite quote. That becomes like a parable. It's not just a quote, thing to consider, in your life.
That's a tattoo right there.
Got room for it.
And is there anything you don't like about the film? We won't kick you off the podcast, but is there anything you would change?
that it didn't have a sequel, but I don't think that's what you were asking. But
No.
um, I love the music in ways I wish that it wasn't as similar to Batman, but it fits it so perfectly. I don't know now that I would change it. Initially, I might have, Initially, I might have, and I see why Warren, didn't get along, too well with Danny about that. I think Danny describes Warren as being difficult to, like, he's, hard to understand music. You guys talked about that. But no, I don't know if I would. Not the film itself. I wish the cut had been a little longer, but I guess initially it was, and they changed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it, I feel like we didn't get enough of it. The pacing, right? So I wish we'd spent a little bit more time with Lips before we went in the bath, and I wish we hadn't started. But those are all like minor, concerns. When you read like the graphic novels they did on it, it expands a little bit more, and it kind of leads you up to that. So yeah, I'm like anybody else. Like like, we didn't get all the chapters from Harry Potter. We got to retell the story, and it's like, I don't know if I would change it for what it is now. I'm in love with what it is now, but yeah, if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I might have had some gripes, but no, I kind of, it's perfect as it is now. So no, I guess I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think a director's cut would be nice to have one day, wouldn't it? And to get the version with another half an hour attached to it, that would be great to have.
Yeah, a director's anything would have been nice. Special features of any kind would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. All those DVDs that have been released, director's cut would have been such a great thing to have had. A version with an extra 25 minutes. Yeah, as Brian was saying as well, just some special features on the DVDs would have been great to have.
Anything.
Yeah, anything. Yeah.
We're starved, Yeah, I wish we had a more comprehensive. I like the book. That's another. I wasn't aware of the making of book, and you guys turned me on to that. Now I have it, and I sleep with it under my pillow every night or whatever. It's become my religious text. But I do. Yeah, I like, you guys have already brought me a little bit of knowledge I didn't have before, and I love that. Anything we can get, I love it. Any pictures we haven't seen, I love it. It's the best, because you get a little bit of more of something that you thought you'd never get. So
yeah, and we're learning as we go. We're certainly no experts, but every week we learn a bit more, and find things out that we didn't know. Our biggest gripe in the UK is that some of the things we can't get, because a lot of it is on the American eBay. There's tons of stuff, but in the UK, like you mentioned the graphic novels, 2 of them, you can get them everywhere in the UK on eBay. 1 of them you just cannot. So that's why we've not covered it yet, because we can't get that 3rd one. Hunting stuff down becomes slightly more tricky, doesn't it, James?
It does, you're right.
And with the taxes and tariffs and stuff, it's quite tricky from the States to get stuff sometimes.
Listen, you know a guy in the States now, so I got
you. Yeah. We'll send you a list.
I mean,
just one final thing then, Brian. You mentioned to me in a message that William Forsythe is coming to a theme park near you. Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's actually. It's actually like a horror movie convention, but they do this. This is right up next to Universal Studios, and so I'm very excited that he's going to be there. And you guys had just mentioned about him doing these little convention circuits, which I thought was amazingly ironic. But yeah, I just found out about that. I've been to this one before. There's tons of folks from all different types of media that show up there, and he's going to be there. So I'm absolutely going to meet Flat Top, and I can't wait. I'm very excited. I might take the hat.
Yeah, I want to see the photo. I can't wait to see it. That'd be amazing.
You'll be the first, I assure you.
And your podcast, you're going to keep getting people on there, keep getting guests. Have you got plans to keep?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a couple more lined up, and we've just been very, very fortunate. People are usually very open to it. We're like, it's just like, this is very informal, and we love to just have people on, and we love to have them talk about their love of Indiana Jones. So same thing here. So yeah, we do the same thing you guys do, and the same thing. It's a little community. So I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing. It's very, very good, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I think 85% of our listeners, James, are from America, aren't they? We looked at our data the other day.
Yes.
So we do appreciate our American people listening to our shows and watching it, because without that, we probably have like 5 people in the UK.
I've never been over there, but I feel like it would be like Doctor Who for me. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everywhere here. You can't avoid Doctor Who. Yeah. But no, hopefully one day we'll get out to Florida again and to the theme parks, and we can do some detective work, James, can't we? Kind of
We
like,
can,
you know,
exactly.
peel back the layers and try and see any reminiscence
Yeah.
of
I
Dick
would love
Tracy.
that. Yeah, I will meet you there.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. We'll hold you to that, Brian. But brilliant. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, and keep up the good work. Is there anything you want to promote at the end of the episode? Anything you want to tell people where to find you?
No,
listen to you?
That's plenty. You guys have been very generous in that way. Thank you so much for having me on, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'm gonna keep promoting you guys. We need as many people as we can to talk about this and to share our love of this. So, thank you both so much.
Yeah, thank
For
you,
the love
Brian.
of Dick.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you once again to Brian for coming on the show and talking to us. It's really great to talk to someone from a different part of the world and somewhere we were in 91. You know, we might have passed him in the park.
Yeah,
and not known, you know. I can't imagine living so close to a theme park like that. It must be amazing.
Oh, yeah, it must be. You'd be kind of going all the time.
You'd get a season pass, wouldn't you?
I think you would. Yeah, you would definitely.
Yeah, we don't
But
have
yeah, but
anything
it's-
as lavish in the UK, do we, as Disney yet?
No, we don't. Yeah, Chessington doesn't really live up to the levels of Disney World, does
Fault
it?
Park.
Yeah.
No, but it was great chatting to him and sharing his knowledge and insight. And do check out his podcast. It belongs to the museum. It belongs to the museum. No, that's what Indiana Jones says. It belongs to the podcast.
Oh, definitely. It was great to have him on. Great to hear his stories. And again, going to the park in 1990 when the Dick Tracy fanfare was still taking place. I mean, I'm so jealous that, you know, we didn't get the opportunity to see that ourselves. But getting the opportunity now to hear someone tell us about it is just great. Really, really is.
Yeah, and I really want his shirt. Now I've seen that shirt and I know it exists. I want one of those.
You know what? I forgot to ask him where he got the fedora as well, because it is perfect. It is such a perfect replica.
Yeah. Well, we'll message him and say, can you send us a couple of fedoras?
Yeah.
We'll pay you in dollars, get the exchange
Yeah.
rate right. Yeah. But anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back soon. This has been Talking Dick, the Dick Tracy movie podcast. Take care.
Cheers. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in touch, you can email us at dtmoviepodcast@gmail.com. You'll also find us on X and Instagram at dtmoviepodcast. Or come and join our Facebook group, the Dick Tracy Movie Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for bonus videos and extra content.